Once upon a time, an old pencil maker took his newest pencil aside, just before placing it into a box. Imagining the little fellow could listen, he whispered 5 things that would shape the pencil's journey. This tale is a modern parable, widely shared and often attributed to Paulo Coelho. Regardless of its exact origin, its lessons have resonated with millions because they speak to how we grow, learn, and leave our mark. There are 5 things you need to remember, the maker began. Carry them with you, and you'll become the best pencil you can be. Lesson 1. You will do great things, but only if you let yourself be guided and held. The pencil works in another's hand. For us, that means we achieve more when we invite guidance, collaborate, and align with a purpose beyond ourselves. Mentors and communities help us see blind spots and open doors we didn't know existed. Research in education and organizational psychology consistently shows that guided practice, coaching, and supportive networks improve skill acquisition, resilience, and long-term outcomes. Collaboration doesn't mean giving away your agency. It means choosing partners and mentors with care, setting healthy boundaries, and contributing to something larger than your individual effort. When you let trusted hands guide you, teachers, peers, colleagues, loved ones, you expand your capacity and multiply your impact. Lesson 2. From time to time, you will experience sharpening. It can be uncomfortable, but it refines you. Pencils are sharpened so they can write clearly. For us, sharpening looks like deliberate practice, constructive feedback, and tackling challenges that stretch us. Growth doesn't require suffering for its own sake. It asks for consistent effort, reflection, and incremental improvement. Studies on learning and growth mindset suggest that embracing challenges, focusing on strategies, and persisting through setbacks enhances mastery. If you avoid needless hardship and instead choose purposeful friction, like practicing a skill daily, seeking performance feedback, or stepping outside a comfort zone, you refine your edge. Sharpening should be humane and sustainable. Rest matters, mental health matters, and you are allowed to pace your growth. The point is clarity, so your life writes what it intends. Lesson 3. You can correct mistakes even if not all of them erase cleanly. A pencil carries an eraser, a symbol of second chances. Our lives come with repair, apologies, course corrections, new habits, and a patience to try again. Not every mistake disappears without trace. Some have consequences that require accountability, restitution, and time to heal. But learning science shows that error-based learning, examining what went wrong, adjusting strategy, and trying again, strengthens understanding and performance. Self-compassion promotes resilience after failure, and taking responsibility rebuilds trust. When you can't erase a mistake entirely, you can annotate it with wisdom. Make amends, document what it taught you, and commit to doing better. In the ledger of a life, corrections matter as much as original strokes. Lesson 4. The most important part of you is what's inside, but pair your inner graphite with skills that carry your values outward. A pencil's heart is graphite. That inner core turns movement into marks. In us, values, character, and intentions shape what we do. Integrity, kindness, curiosity, and courage are the material we write with. Yet values alone aren't enough. Skills, habits, and knowledge are the casing that lets your inner core do its work. Social and environmental contexts also matter. Access, opportunity, and systems influence what marks we can make. So guard what's inside, cultivate ethical clarity, and add to it practical tools, communication, critical thinking, craft, and discipline. When inner character meets capable hands, your writing becomes legible and lasting. Lesson 5. Wherever you are used, leave a mark worth keeping. The pencil's purpose is to write. Ours is to contribute small lines that over time draw a meaningful picture. Positive impact can be quiet. Teaching one student, helping one neighbor, doing one honest job well. Evidence on pro-social behavior suggests that acts of generosity and service increase well-being for givers and receivers alike. Leaving a mark isn't about fame or scale, it's about alignment. Choose marks that reflect your values and consider their ripple effects. Write with consent and respect, and remember that every surface, every circumstance can hold a line of hope, clarity, or kindness. The pencil listened and promised to remember. Collaborate wisely, embrace purposeful sharpening, Correct mistakes with accountability. Honor the inner core while building skills, and leave a mark that helps others. Application: turning the pencil's lessons into daily practice. Choose a hand. Identify one mentor, peer, or community that can guide you. Ask one clear question this week and act on the advice. Sharpen with purpose. Pick one skill to practice for 15 minutes a day. Track your progress with small checkpoints. Correct with courage. Name one mistake you can repair. Offer a sincere apology. Fix what you can and note what you learned. Guard the graphite. Write down 3 core values and one concrete habit that expresses each value. Review weekly. Make a mark. Do one pro-social act. Help, teach, share, or create without seeking credit. Let the line speak for itself. The pencil maker's words did not end with the 5th promise. He lifted the fresh stick of wood and graphite, turned it to the window, and let morning light slide along its unmarked flank. Remember, he said, a pencil is never finished the moment it leaves the bench. It becomes itself only after it is held, only after it is pressed to paper, only after it is worn down. The same is true for you. Then he told the pencil one more secret, a secret so quiet that most retellings leave it out. Inside your cedar sleeve, he whispered, there is a hairline seam you cannot see. If the wood ever splits along that seam, the core will snap. The seam is not a flaw. It is the place where growth rings met in the tree. It is the record of a year the forest was hungry, a year the sky withheld rain. The tree survived by growing slower, denser, closer to its own heart. That hidden weakness is also the reason your core stays straight. So when you feel a fracture beginning, do not curse the break. Thank the year that taught the tree how to endure. The pencil said nothing, but the maker felt it tremble as if graphite could nod. He placed the pencil in a dark blue box, closed the lid, and carried the box to the shop door. Outside, the world was already loud. Bicycle bells, newspaper boys, the smell of yeast from the bakery across the street. The maker paused, suddenly uncertain. Every morning he sent instruments of possibility into that roar, yet he never knew which hands would hold them, which sentences would be born, which mistakes would be erased in shame and which in mercy. He whispered an apology to every pencil he had never forgiven for breaking too soon, then set the box on the delivery cart. The cart rattled toward a school on the edge of town. In the first classroom, a girl opened the box, chose the newest pencil, and pressed its point to the first blank page of her life. She was 10, the age when self-portraits still include wings and tails. She drew a rocket ship with 3 portholes, one for her mother, one for the stray dog she fed every morning, one empty. When the nose cone smudged, she flipped the pencil, erased the charcoal cloud, and tried again. The graphite grew shorter by millimeters, the seam inside the wood held. In the second classroom, a boy lifted the same pencil, now dulled, and wrote a single sentence. I am not afraid of the dark. I am afraid of what the dark hides. He had never spoken the words aloud. Stammer sat like a stone in his throat. The pencil moved and the stone cracked. He wrote the sentence again, larger, then once more along the margin, so the letters marched like soldiers guarding the empty space where a voice should be. At recess, he read the line to the nurse who iced his bruised ribs. That night he slept without the light on for the first time in a year. By afternoon, the pencil was half its original length, its paint chipped, the maker's brand smudged by sweat. It passed to a janitor finishing his shift, who used it to tally boiler pressure in a spiral notebook he kept in the boiler room since 1987. The numbers were small and perfect, each digit a miniature lighthouse against the fog of rust and time. When the pencil stub became too short for his calloused fingers, he taped it to a popsicle stick and kept writing. He would retire in 8 months. The notebook would outlive him by decades, a quiet account of how the building breathed. Years thinned the graphite to a fragile spine. Finally, the seam the maker had warned about sighed open. The core snapped inside the wood, invisible from the outside. The janitor felt the point falter like a heart skipping. He set the pencil down, found a new one, and continued the log. The broken stub rolled behind a pipe, gathering soot. There, in the warm dark, the graphite waited. It remembered every hand, the girl who drew hope, the boy who named fear, the man who counted breaths of iron and steam. It remembered the maker's 5 promises in the secret 6th. It understood now that breaking was not failure. It was the final lesson, the moment when the innermost part, exposed at last, touched stillness. A century later, renovation crews dismantled the boiler room. A worker spotted the black stick fused to the floor, lifted it gently, and mistook it for a shard of coal. He slipped it into his pocket, carried it home, and set it on the windowsill above his daughter's desk. That night, she was revising a poem for a contest she was too shy to enter. The theme was inheritance. She saw the dark fragment, felt its silky weight, and rolled it between her fingers until the tip stained her skin silver. Without thinking, she brushed her thumb across the paper, leaving a soft charcoal trace that looked exactly like the wing of a small bird. She built the rest of the poem around that accidental feather, won the contest, and years later, when she stood at a lecture podium reading to a room full of strangers, she told them about the day she inherited a piece of someone else's courage. The graphite, now dust motes on a windowsill, had finally become the word it always carried. Back in the original workshop, long since closed, its beams home to swallows, the old maker's bench survived under canvas. If you visited at dawn, you could still smell cedar and graphite in the cracks of the wood. If you pressed your palm to the surface, you might feel a faint vibration, the ghost of every pencil that ever slid across it, still writing somewhere in the world. Because pencils do not end when they break. They end when the last mark they made is forgotten. And marks outlive paper. They migrate into memory, into story, into the next hand that needs proof that words can travel through darkness and still arrive legible. So here is the rest of the promise, the part the maker could not say in one sitting. You will be scared. You will think the sharpening is punishment. You will watch friends write faster, taller, prettier. You will compare your crooked letters to their calligraphy and decide you are defective. You will press so hard the point snaps, and you will blame the wood, the graphite, the hand that holds you. In that moment, remember the seam. Remember the drought year inside the tree. Speak to the fracture as the maker spoke to you. You are not ruined. You are being recorded. Then turn the pencil, find the fresh edge, and keep the sentence moving. Some days you will be the girl drawing wings on machines. Some days you will be the boy naming the monster. Some days you will be the janitor counting small numbers that hold a building upright. And one day, perhaps without noticing, you will be the fragment someone inherits, the accidental feather that teaches another hand how to fly. The measure of your life will not be the length you retained, but the number of times you allowed yourself to be consumed in service of a sentence that outlived you. So do not hoard your graphite. Do not fear the sharpener. Do not apologize for the page that bears your smudge. Instead, sign every surface with the same gentle urgency the tree once used to grow, slow, steady, closer to the heart each year. And when the final hand sets you down, whether you are a stub taped to a stick or dust on a windowsill, trust that the mark is still traveling. It is in the rocket ship with 3 portholes. It is in the boy who no longer needs the light. It is in the boiler numbers that kept a school warm long enough for generations to learn. It is in the poem about inheritance, in the silver feather on the page, in the voice of a woman who once believed she had nothing worth saying until she touched the residue of someone else's courage. That is the pencil's promise. You do not have to last forever. You only have to last long enough to pass the sentence forward. So pick up whatever length remains of you today. Put yourself in a trustworthy hand, your own or another's. Let the sharpener take what it must. Erase what needs correction. Protect the graphite within, but never hide it. And on every surface life offers, leave a mark so clear that even after you are gone, someone will find it and know without doubt that a person once believed words could still make wings.